Hi everybody, today we're going to be talking about a little bit of a sensitive issue, which is fertility and infertility. Now there's never any guarantees on the journey into motherhood, and for some women that journey can be really heartbreaking and harrowing, and for others the journey is fast and joyful and sometimes even unexpected. So over my 12 years of practice as a holistic healing practitioner and crystal therapist, I somehow seemed to attract a lot of women who were going through fertility issues and who had a little bit of a traumatic fertility journey, let's say. I saw women that had multiple miscarriages or who'd been trying unsuccessfully to get pregnant for more than 2 years, and I fell into this area of specialization. I certainly didn't set out to become a specialist when it came to crystal therapy and fertility, but I did end up working with a lot of women who were seeking alternative healing methods for their journey for fertility. So I do speak from a place of experience, and some of my most beloved sisters and women that I love most in this world have had a difficult journey to motherhood. Fortunately, I myself have not. My 2 pregnancies were fast, healthy, and there weren't any issues. So anyway, I'm not speaking from personal experience in that respect, but I have certainly journeyed with dozens and dozens of women through the fertility path, and I would love to share any wisdom and help that I can with those of you out there, mothers to be. Hold in there, and hopefully this can give you some hope and some healing for your journey. So we'll be exploring 4 of my favorite fertility stones, and we will also be exploring a 5th stone, which is highly recommended for fertility, but I steer well away from it until the last weeks of pregnancy, and I will explain why later in the video. So number 4 on the list of my favorite stones for fertility and pregnancy are Shiva Lingam. Now, this stone can come from quite small, like this size. You can see it fits very easily in the palm of my hand. I've seen them as giant as a small car, like a Mini Cooper. So these stones can become enormous, and they are sourced from the Ganges River in India, and they are called Shiva Lingam because they literally translate to Shiva's penis. So they are used for virility in males. I use them a lot working with men who are experiencing virility issues or issues with sexual stamina. So hold on, let me strip this back. So they do really embody the divine masculine. But bear with me, the reason why I love these stones for working with women is because getting pregnant and the journey to pregnancy, it's not a solo show. It takes 2 to tango, and we need to be looking at both the woman and the man involved in the conception process. So you may have already done testing and exploration, and you may have discovered that your partner has a low sperm count or compromised sperm health. Working with Shiva Lingam for him specifically is really going to be beneficial. But where it can help a woman is sometimes women are actually allergic to their partner's sperm, and they attack the sperm. The cells, the internal cells of the lady will attack the male sperm cells. So working with Shiva Lingam will really help the female body to become more welcoming to her partner's sperm, and on an energetic level as well. So Shiva Lingam really brings that divine masculine energy, that strength, that stamina, that power. So in terms of how that can help the fertility journey, it can really help if you're working with it on a female, that can help her womb and her body environment to become most receptive to her partner's sperm, and giving strength and stamina to their journey. So that's why Shiva Lingam is making the list at number 4 here, even though it's a stone you may not have even heard of. It's not quite a commonly used stone compared to other crystals that you may be more familiar with. My number 3 favorite stone for working with fertility and pregnancy is amethyst. This is a large piece of natural amethyst. Now, I like to work with amethyst because whenever we're working with a desire that's deep from the heart and from the soul, I like to include amethyst because it keeps our intention pure and true, and it also helps us to come to a higher understanding of the process. So when we're going through that fertility journey, and every month we're looking at the pregnancy test, and it might be coming back negative month after month, and it's really hard to keep up spirits and to look at the situation objectively because you're so subjectively and emotionally involved in the outcome. Amethyst helps us step into that place of our higher selves and look at our situation a little bit more spiritually and with a little bit more understanding and wisdom. And I find when we can come to that place of wisdom and acceptance, and we're less engaged in the human and earthly emotions of disappointment and anger and frustration, when we can step into a higher plane, then that actually relieves the stress on the physical body, and that process in itself can oftentimes lead to a successful pregnancy. So how many of you know someone who's been trying desperately to get pregnant, maybe for years? I myself have a family member who didn't even think she could have any more children after having 2 children, and then well into her 40s, when her children were in their teens, she suddenly became pregnant. How many of you know someone who has been stressed and upset and who's gone through this really traumatic journey to trying to get pregnant and it hasn't happened, and then within a month or 2 after they say, that's it, I give up, it doesn't matter, I'm just going to get on with my life, and release that stress and that expectation, and then they get pregnant. That happens time and time again. I've had a lot of clients that I've worked with to come to a place of acceptance of what will be. And so often, as soon as that acceptance has been embodied on a really deep spiritual level, they get pregnant because the physical body is not in that state of stress and pressure anymore. So that's why I think amethyst is a really great fertility stone, because it works on the spiritual, the mental, and the soul self. Does that make sense? Now moving on to the more, I guess, bodily and more direct fertility stones, I'm going to go with rose quartz here as number 2. Now, rose quartz is usually a stone for the heart chakra, but I like to use it on the womb area and the ovary area when I'm doing a layout for fertility and pregnancy, because rose quartz to me embodies maternal love. It is the most unconditionally loving stone out of all of the minerals in the mineral kingdom. Now, you tell me a love that is more unconditional than a mother's love for her child. I don't know what it is. I don't think it exists. So what a mother is to a child, rose quartz is to the mineral kingdom in terms of what it's going to bring energetically to the layout. It is going to just capture that feeling of unconditional love that a mother has for a child. It's going to bring that love, that nurture, that forgiveness, that acceptance, all of those emotions that mothers out there, you get me, you know what it's like. You always love your child no matter what, and you've never known love like it. So rose quartz is a stone that speaks to that part of a woman and really helps her tune in and realize that maternal part of herself. And by activating that love center and that maternal energy center, it helps prepare the body emotionally for pregnancy and what having a child entails. So how about that, guys? We've looked at the guys, we've looked at the preparing spiritually and mentally, and then we've just looked at preparing emotionally. And now we're going to look at preparing all the ladies' bits and pieces for pregnancy as well, because that brings me to my number 1 stone, which is Moonstone for pregnancy and fertility. I've got a couple of samples here. Unfortunately, I can't. Can you see it there? I'm trying to get... This is a really beautiful moonstone. I'm not in the right light, and it's a rainbow moonstone, and it's got all these amazing flashes of purple and blue, but it's just not happening for you guys. Sorry. You'll just have to trust me on that one. Moonstone comes in quite varied qualities. Now, the reason why this is quite small is because it's a very good quality moonstone, although it's not going to perform for you. And so it's really expensive. So to get a really good quality moonstone, the size of a regular tumbled, you're looking at over $100. So it's quite a significant investment if you're going with the high quality stone. Otherwise, you can get your usual, like your low grade quality moonstone tumbled. Sometimes it can be quite peach in color. It's milky, it's opaque, it doesn't have the rainbow flashes, and you can get these for a few dollars for a tumbled piece. Energetically speaking, look, I'm a bit of a purist. I love working with high quality stones that haven't been tampered with too much or shaped too much. That's my personal preference. In terms of rainbows, I love working with stones with rainbows because rainbows themselves bring a different quality to the healing above and beyond the properties of the crystal. But if all you've got to work with is the tumbled version, that's still going to be okay. It's still going to bring the energy that you want to the healing. So the reason why I love Moonstone as my number one pick for fertility and pregnancy is because Moonstone is the mineral equivalent of the moon and the lunar cycles and the divine feminine. So think about a female menstrual cycle. It's very lunar. It's once a month. Women and, well, actually everything in nature, not just women's menstrual cycles, but everything in nature is cyclic. It's seasonal. It ebbs and flows, and a woman's menstrual cycle really sings and attunes to the lunar cycles as well. It doesn't matter where in the lunar month your period falls, but it's, for most women, it's a monthly occurrence, just like a full moon. And the full moon embodies that swelling, you know, when your period's on its way and your womb is large and it's full and it's swollen, and then after you've had your period and you feel that shrinking, that contraction, and it's emptied out, and it's that same process that the moon goes through. It's a very natural, energetic process that you will find a lot in nature. So Moonstone speaks directly to the womb and the ovaries and that cycle of fertility that happens. So by working with Moonstone directly over the womb and the ovaries, we're helping to encourage regular periods, healthy release of the egg every month, good cleansing and ripening of the womb. And all of this is amazing for helping with fertility. And then once pregnancy has occurred or conception has occurred, then you can continue working with Moonstone to just really help that ripening and that blossoming process. It's also worth mentioning here that unless you're very experienced in crystal healing, I don't recommend working with pregnant ladies, or at the very least, certainly not in the first trimester. Now, there are some crystals that can actually cause early contractions. They can stimulate the organs and cause a cleansing process. There are some crystals that can really interfere with the energy of the growing baby. So growing babies are very absorbent to crystal energy and all vibrational energy around them. So once conception has happened and once pregnancy has taken, we just want to leave it and just encourage it in a very soft and indirect way. Certainly no crystals on the womb area or below the heart chakra or solar plexus chakra. We really don't want to be putting any crystals around the stomach or womb area. And just if we're using crystals throughout pregnancy, very soft, gentle stones like rose quartz, like moonstone, and like amethyst, all on the higher chakras. So the energy of the stone is not in too close a contact with the growing baby. Now, with that little disclaimer out of the way, that brings me to my fifth crystal for pregnancy and fertility, which is not actually for fertility or pregnancy at all, I don't think, anyway. But I do see it recommended a lot, and I'm, you really recommend that stone? I wonder. So that is Carnelian. Carnelian is orange or red. Now, the reason why Carnelian is really quite famed as a fertility stone is because it resonates with the lower organs of the body. So it really resonates with the reproductive organs, kundalini energy, sexual energy, fertility, like that fertile energy. It does carry that energy within it, and it's a very physical stone. So it helps heal the organs of the body on a physical level as well. So if your journey to pregnancy has been challenged because of damage to your reproductive organs, then working with Carnelian for fertility can definitely help. Okay, don't get me wrong, it's great for working with fertility, but once pregnancy has occurred, don't use Carnelian, because the flip side of Carnelian is it is a cleansing stone, an eliminating stone. It is amazing for getting rid of things. Now, if you've got a young baby, young fetus, you're in the first trimester, and you're using a stone that promotes that cleansing and purging lower body process, it's not a good idea, guys. Not a good idea at all. So whatever you do, don't use Carnelian or cleansing stones on the lower chakras or just anywhere. Just don't use them if you're working with a pregnant client, because we don't want to stimulate early contractions or be sending energetic message to the body to be purging and eliminating through the root chakra, because it can cause miscarriage and complications in pregnancy. So the only time I would recommend using Carnelian with pregnancy is if your client or yourself is 38 weeks or over. So the baby is fully formed. You might be getting to that point where you're thinking, when is this ever going to end? Get this earth globe-sized person out of me. And then it can be really helpful. So I was 4 days overdue with my son, and I taped a Carnelian to my belly, my lower belly. It's like, I love you, honey, but you got to get out of there. And that day I had my contractions, and 12 hours later he was born. So look, Carnelian, yes for fertility stone, no for pregnancy stone. Okay, got it? Excellent. So that rounds up, get it? Rounds up my 5 top fertility and pregnancy stones. If you have any questions, pop them in the comments section below and I will be happy to answer them. And I do just want to say again, this is advanced crystal healing, guys. So I teach fertility and pregnancy crystal healing layouts in my most advanced crystal healing courses. So I don't recommend, if you're a newbie and you're not experienced in energy healing, do not work on pregnant ladies. By all means, do the fertility, the preconception, all the fertility work. Use these stones. Do what you can with your client. But if your client's pregnant, or if there's a chance that your client is pregnant, please just leave well alone and let that beautiful bubba thrive in just the way they're going to.